Sonic 3 released in 1994, and ever since there's been a little bit of a conspiracy theory, which was basically pretty much confirmed. I think it was confirmed, but I'm going to put on that caveat right there. And that theory is, did Michael Jackson compose the music for Sonic 3? Which seems like something really weird. Like, why would the king of pop do the third entry for Sonic of all games?
What game system was that on? Was that, I can't remember what game system that was. Would that have been like Sega Genesis or?
I believe it was the Genesis.
Yeah. I don't
wasn't.
remember because Mario 3 was
I
on
didn't
the
have
Nintendo.
that as a kid.
Yeah, neither did I. So that's interesting. Why would the King of Pop
work on this game?
But
there is actually some evidence, some of which has now been substantiated. So there was a recent article in the Huffington Post in which 6 men who are listed as the composers for the Sonic 3 music: Brad Buxer, Bobby Brooks, Doug Grisby III, Daryl Ross, Jeff Grace, and Sirocco Jones. From the early 2000s, certain people or certain fans of Sonic were starting to notice, like, sounds a lot like a Michael Jackson song. And then in certain articles, people came out, like in September 2005, Roger Hector, a former Sega executive, had basically said Sega worked with Jackson to develop a soundtrack, but they had scrubbed all the tracks from the game. That's not necessarily true. So there is a disputed timeline of what's going on. But one thing that seems to be consistent is that one day in 1993, early 1993, Jackson, this is at a point in his career where he's very famous and the controversies that haunted the rest of his life hadn't sunk in yet.
Yeah, this is like right around the time, what was that album? Dangerous? Yeah, Dangerous.
This is around Dangerous.
Out, right? Yeah.
He had actually worked with Sega before on Moonwalker.
Oh my God,
you're right.
Kids. Oh, I love that game when I was a kid.
Yeah, so like they have a little bit of a history together.
Oh, okay.
So one day he went on a tour, or he called and said, I want to visit, because this is around the time he's off his Dangerous tour. He had hurt his leg. So he's in the neighborhood. He's in the Palo Alto neighborhood. He comes by. Everyone's really excited.
How could they not be?
Of course. And then one of the programmers says, hey, would you like to work on the soundtrack? And after that is the point, after that is where everything is disputed. So he says, I'm going to just say allegedly is the caveat from now on, okay?
Yes.
So basically he says, yeah, I'll do this. And then he and the other 6 men kind of work together. They record in high, I believe it's called, is it res or high fidelity? I'm not a music expert. High fidelity. And they start composing tracks the way that you would do a normal Michael Jackson track.
Okay.
Given, the technology of the time, audio doesn't sound that great in games. It's like...
Yeah, it's just like a MIDI.
Instead of real music.
Yeah.
So they start composing it this way, in the strong way, where it's everything that Jackson is used to at this point. So then they're working on this. They come up with many tracks, about 41. This is, well, a lot of them are shorter cues.
Sure.
You look shocked.
Okay.
But in games, I mean, you need to produce a lot of different things for a lot of different instances. And around this time, shortly after, this is when we start getting allegations of child molestation. And Sega, a company that produces games for children, they don't like this. So officially they're like, we have nothing to say about this. We're not connected to him.
They pulled the plug on it.
Whatever. But actually, Buxer, who's the lead of the composers that are credited, said no one told them to stop working on this. In fact, if anything, they needed to work faster to get this done. So they're still working together, according to Buxer. And then they actually produce it. They finish. They eventually finish. And then after that, it's disputed again about what happened. But either Sega didn't want him credited because they didn't want to be attached to him, or he didn't want to be credited because he hated the sound quality of what the final product was, because it did not sound like, when they were working, he had music in mind, he had different beats in mind, he had different melodies in mind. But the final product doesn't sound as well. Let's listen to
the limitations that they had. Yeah.
All right, you can check out the full version of that, I believe,
Yeah.
by Huffington Post. But they do sound similar, even though the quality is allegedly not what Jackson wanted. Sega wanted to distance themselves. They said that they hired someone to redo the tracks. They didn't get completely redone, according to Buxer, and that there is definitely, according to Buxer, still a lot of Michael in that that soundtrack. So yes, according to him, he did do this. Busted? Plausible?
I believe it. I'm on board.
Yeah? You're into this?
I'm on board.
Audience,
I'm on board.
are you into this? Did Michael Jackson compose those tracks? It looks like yes. I would say probably yes. Let us know what you think below in the comments, and please like and subscribe for more.